Hiyo, I'm back with another tutorial. I'm going to be showing you a quick one on how I do my gnome. I hope this can be helpful coming from a newbie. Things I did along the way and wish I would have done different. The cup is a 20-ounce traditional from Craft Haven. We're going to be using Epoxy Sculpt from CC DIY. It comes in two parts, A and B. You want to try and get the same amount. I rolled them up in balls to try to see if they look the same size, and then you just start mixing them. There are two different colors, kind of, so you want to mix until they're all one color. You can kind of feel it mold together. And I am wearing gloves at this point, but at some point I take them off because they just leave marks on it. Don't tell anybody I did that. And then I'm going to be starting with the nose. I take a little piece off. I start rolling it, trying to get it as smooth and the size that I want. I'm going to put it on the cup because I kind of want the back of it to mold to the curve of the cup. I'm just going to push that on, see if I like it, take out any indentions that I see, and then I'm going to move on to the brim of the hat. Take the majority of my mixture there. I'm going to roll it out in a rope. I just have two pieces of acrylic here that I'm rolling it in between. It really helped that rope, I'm going to call it, be really smooth. Checking the size there, and I'm going to roll it out a little bit more. I'm going to start pushing it on the cup. It's kind of funky to start with. I kind of stopped a couple times when I first started doing this, because it was just falling off the cup and I was getting frustrated. But I want to make sure the back of the cup or the back of these ropes, the ends touch. And that's the main thing I'm doing. And as I'm pushing it together, I'm also holding the sides of the cup. So I'm going to go ahead and around the brim, I'm going to fix it to the shape that I like. And as I'm molding it, I'm also pushing it onto the cup. So I want to make sure that every piece of it is touching the cup, and this stuff it adheres pretty good to a cup. I'm going to show you an example of that in a bit. I used whatever tools I had on hand to make sure that the brim of the hat was smooth and it didn't look all bumpy and funky. I'm going to make sure that my nose fits right there in that brim where I had it go up a little bit. And then I'm going to move on to the mittens. I did not try hands for this gnome. These are going to be mittens. I messed up and made two right or two lefts, so I had to start one over and make sure that I had two mittens where the thumbs go up. No pattern on that. I just kind of winged it. And then I'm going to put these on the cup as well. I thought they would be easy to remove. I didn't want them to cure or dry flat because they would just lay flat on the cup. I wanted them to have that curve. And I had never worked with this before, so I didn't know that these would adhere so well to the cup. But let me tell you guys, this stuff really sticks to the cup. I thought it would be easy to pop off the hands and the nose. It wasn't. Watch me struggle here. Actually, the nose came off pretty easy, but the mittens, no, that took quite a bit of work. So this is one thing that I learned, and I would definitely do different and not plan on taking those off. I'm going to go right on to glittering. After that is cured, I let it cure for about 24 hours, just using acrylic paint and MOD Podge, coloring my hat and then glittering it. I don't want to see any white through it, so I'm just double checking it here. And I approve. Then I'm going to do the mittens. The mittens are going to match the hat color. So glitter, painted and glittered. And then I'm going to move on to drawing out or rough drawing out where I want my beard to go. Once again, we're going to use acrylic paint that was gray and then some Mod Podge. Mix that up, and then I'm going to start painting in where I drew up my beard. I go really slow under the brim because I want the paint to go right up under the brim of the green hat, but I do not want to get any paint on that part. And I really thought that the molding of this would be the hardest. It's not. It's how slow I have to go in painting every piece and making sure the paint goes exactly where it's supposed to. I glitter right over the gray paint, and then I'm going to move right onto the body. I use like kind of like a lime green paint here, and then I went over it with a mint green hemlock from Glitter by Mama Boss. I'll link that below as well. Painting and then glittering over it. And then once I let that sit for a few hours and let the paint dry. And then I did about 3 coats of clear. There it is. Clear coat. I did that about 3 because I didn't want any of the glitter migrating. So I did 3 coats of that. I made this little contraption here because I didn't want to touch the nose. I had done a nose before and painted it with acrylic paint, and it looked terrible. So I knew I wanted to use spray paint on this. So I stuck it on here so I wouldn't have to touch it with my hands at all and just spray painted it. I also clear coated my little mittens there 3 times. I did 1 coat of epoxy over this, and then I went in with my details on the hat. I have a paint pen here. I'm going to outline the beard with it. And this is where I'm adding all my details. And then on top of this, I just used my glue gun and did a little dab of hot glue on the back end of the nose and put my nose up in place. And then I did the same thing with my gloves, just to make sure that they stuck to the cup. And then once I did my last coats of epoxy, I went ahead and I warmed up part A before I mixed it. And I mixed it really slow because I didn't want any micro bubbles in it or, any big bubbles. So I did warm up part A, and I went slow on the mixing before I covered this. So if that's a tip or a hint for anybody, I'm usually a pretty vigorous mixer on my epoxy, but on these I go slow and I warm up part A. And I did 2 coats of epoxy after I applied all of my pieces. Put his little hands in place. His little nose is so freaking cute. I can't believe I waited so long to make him. But that's him. Look at. He's a distinguished gentleman. He's prim and proper. I love him. Hope that helps. I'll link everything below. Bye, yo.